The Music Awards season is just around the corner, and as I look at the current state of pop music, one thing is clear: it lacks diversity. So bonjour hi my loves, I hope you're doing well, I hope you're doing fine. So in today's episode, as I just mentioned, I will talk about the lack of diversity in pop music. More specifically, we're going to explore how Black artists who have played a crucial role in shaping pop music, and may I say, every genre of music, and how they still, to this day, they don't get the recognition that they truly deserve. So before I start talking about this issue, let's define what is pop music, its true definition, so it will be easier to give my arguments and to be at least on the same page when it comes to the definition of pop music. So pop music is short term for popular music, which is a genre designed to appeal to a wide audience. Pop music is characterized by its catchy melodies that are simple, repetitive, and easy to sing along with, relatable lyrics that often have the themes of love, of heartbreak, of fun, and personal experiences, and they also have strong emphasis on hooks and choruses that make the songs memorable. Some examples of today's pop artists are Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Harry Styles, Justin Bieber, Shawn Mendes, Sabrina Carpenter, and the list goes on. I'm gonna also define the genre of music R&B and rap because I will use it later on in this video as arguments. So let's start with R&B. R&B music is short for rhythm and blues, and it's a genre that originated in African American communities in the 1940s. R&B music is known for its rich vocals, emphasis on expressive, soulful singing with intricate vocal runs and emotional delivery, its groovy rhythms where it combines elements from gospel, funk, soul, and pop, making it highly adaptable. Some examples of R&B artists of today are Kehlani, SZA, and Bryson Tyler. Now, let's define what rap music is. Rap music is a genre that features rhythmic spoken or chanted lyrics, often set to a beat or instrumental backing. It originated back in the 1970s in the Bronx in New York City as a part of hip-hop culture, which includes DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. Rap emphasizes on storytelling, wordplay, and rhythmic flow, often addressing themes of personal struggles, social issues, celebration, and self-expression. Some examples of rap artists of today are Central C, Travis Scott, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, and the list goes on. So now let's talk about the main issue. And just before I dive into this issue, I thought that it was important to credit my sources. These sources were super helpful to kind of put into words what I was thinking but couldn't find the proper smart words to use. So I want to credit Janelle Sesam's article Where Are the Black Pop Artists in A Magazine, Sumiko Wilson's The Color of Pop in Elle Canada, and Brianna Younger's From Prince to Whitney to Nicki, The Plight of the Black Pop Artist, an article on Vice. So pop music is often viewed as being neutral, as being the universal genre, much like how whiteness is viewed as being a societal default. This framing obscures the truth. Pop music is actually far from being neutral. It draws heavily from other genres of music, particularly black music, and reworking these influences to appeal to broader audiences, while often erasing their origins and their influences. It is, at the end of the day, the cultural appropriation of black music styles, particularly in the success of the white artists who are doing so but don't credit their influences. While black artists, if they do the same thing as these white artists, they will automatically be put in a box which shows how they face systemic barriers in the same genre. An example that illustrates this issue is Elvis Presley and rock and roll. Elvis Presley is often referred as the king of rock and roll, where he built his career on a genre deeply rooted in black musical traditions, including blues and gospel. while black pioneers like Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and Sister Rosetta Tharpe laid the groundwork for rock and roll, they were often marginalized by mainstream audiences and industry gatekeepers. Meanwhile, Elvis' music, which was heavily borrowed in these influences, was marketed as a broader, largely white audience, leading to his widespread fame and fortune. This example just reflects how pop music has historically reworked black origin genres to suit with cultural norms, allowing white artists to dominate the charts while black artists struggle for the same level of recognition and opportunity. It just shows that pop music is shaped by cultural biases, making it far from being a neutral, universal genre that it's often perceived to be. And this dynamic places black artists in a uniquely challenging position, as this genre operates within a framework built around white cultural norms. Although recording studios don't refuse to blatantly sign black artists, like of course there's big black artists like The Weeknd, Drake, Alicia Keys, Beyonce, the list goes on. I'm not saying that the recording studios don't want to sign them. I'm saying that there's a certain pattern of racial inequalities. Let me explain. Black artists are often confined in a specific genre, like R&B and rap, like I've explained earlier the definitions. And it becomes more challenging for them to make music outside of this genre, which is a problem that white artists just don't face, never at all. It's quite the opposite. We encourage white artists to try something new, to change genres in each albums, but when black artists do the same, they do not get recognized at all because people still associate them with R&B and or rap, and they cannot seem to understand that this black artist can be a pop artist. Even the ones who have achieved household names like Beyonce, they aren't exemptions from this systemic bias. For instance, how many more Grammy Album of the Year Beyonce has to lose before winning this fucking Grammy in this fucking category? And it's even crazier knowing that Beyonce has won many Grammys, but none of them were in the main categories, in the most acclaimed categories of the Grammys, which are Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and the other one I'm forgetting, sorry. I'm gonna put it out here. But she has never won in these main acclaimed categories, which is completely insane. Beyonce has never won main category Grammy. I'm not saying that the people who have won over Beyonce in these categories didn't deserve it. All I'm saying is it is not normal for Beyonce. It just completely doesn't make sense technically that Beyonce hasn't won a Grammy, just one, in one of these categories over the span of her whole fucking career. And do not fucking dare to tell me that it has nothing to do with her skin color. Don't even fucking dare. And it's so heartbreaking to know and realize that a black artist can only become pop once they have been successful in their initial genre of music. Let me say that again. Black artists can only become pop once they become successful in their initial genre of music. This is fucking heartbreaking to know because it is the perfect example for someone like The Weeknd. The Weeknd has only become pop once he fucking had his breakthrough moment. Before, he was considered rap and R&B. And you have on the other hand white artists who are automatically given the pop certification once they made a song that has appealed to a wide audience. Where's that energy for black people? And we have just a few examples of some black artists who have been given the label of pop artists. For example, Jason Derulo, as a black artist marketed as a pop artist rather than an R&B singer, he faced a lot of criticism over his career for not being quote-unquote black enough because he wasn't pop. And that just highlights how pop music inclusivity can exclude and marginalize, which is quite ironic knowing that it's a popular genre that is neutral and a universal genre. Make it make sense. Another example is Normani when she released in 2019 Motivation, which was the perfect pop song, the perfect pop record of the year. You fucking name it. But this song, she received backlash for being too white, for being too pop, which just shows again how hypocritical pop music fundamentally is. And it's so fucking annoying. People trying to disagree on that. Rihanna's album Anti and The Weeknd's album After Hours, these albums met perfectly the pop criteria to be nominated in the Grammys in the pop categories. But wonder why these albums were put in the fucking R&B category. Tell me why. Tell me why, honestly. If these two albums meet the pop criterias, why do you think were they put in the R&B categories? I'm fucking speechless. Because these two albums not only deserve to be in the proper category, it just sucks because Rihanna and The Weeknd, even being, I'm not gonna say in the highest of their careers because they're still to this day, I believe, in the highest of their careers. But even back then, when they were in such good place in their careers, for them to still being mistreated by the awards, it just doesn't make sense. What do you mean? What do you mean? Talking about the Grammys, you know what's even more crazier? Do you know how many black artists have won a Grammy for Album of the Year in the whole 61 year of the Grammys being a thing? 12! 12! 12! What do you mean 12? And not technically 12 different person. Let me be more precise. Knowing that Stevie Wonder had won this title 3 times, that leaves only 9 black artists other than Stevie Wonder to win this fucking Grammy in this category. 9 in 61 years in a genre that is fundamentally influenced by black people. And I know that Album of the Year isn't a category only for pop artists, but most of the time the winner of this album is a pop artist. And you know what? Just because I'm petty as fuck, I'm gonna name you all the different albums who could have easily won Album of the Year, but another white artist won this album over them. And again, I am not blaming these white artists who have won their Album of the Year Grammy. I'm not saying that they didn't deserve it. I just want you to kind of understand how shocking it is with all of these artists that I'm going to name you and their respective albums. The fact that it is a pattern, it's just, it doesn't make sense. Kanye West, 2 times. Album The College Dropouts in 2004 and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in 2011. Beyonce, 3 times she has lost the Grammy Album of the Year. In her album B-Day in 2007, her album I Am Sasha Fierce 2010, and her album Lemonade in 2017. Frank Ocean in his album Channel Orange in 2013, The Weeknd in his album After Hours in 2021, Drake in his album Take Care 2012, Jay-Z in his album The Blueprint 3, Rihanna in her album Anti in 2017, SZA in her album Control in 2017, Kendrick Lamar in his album Damn in 2018, Travis Scott in his album Astroworld. The list fucking goes on. And what's even crazier, most of these black artists lost Album of the Year when this album of this black artist has had an immense impact in the music industry. After Hours by The Weeknd, Channel Orange, Frank Ocean, fucking Beyonce, Lemonade, SZA, Control, Again, I'm not blaming the white artists who have won over these albums, and I'm not saying that they didn't deserve their Grammy. It's just that it is not normal to make extraordinary albums that happens to be made by black artists and lose over and over and over and over. When these albums, their impact as an artist themselves has and will impact the fucking music industry. Like, and not only that, there's only 24% of Grammy nominees to be black artists. 24%. Not even a fourth. What do you mean? And it's even crazier knowing that 50% of America is black people, that America itself is made by black people, and the fact that there are categories in the fucking Grammys that still never a black artist has won, and there were multiple opportunities. For example, in 2022, Doja Cat and SZA won a Grammy in the category Best Pop Duo. Was groundbreaking because it was the first time that two black women won in this category in 2022. And I already hear some of y'all be like, oh, maybe because before there was never two black women working in a pop song together. If some of y'all truly think that, I feel genuine sorriness for you. Don't even know if that's a word. Because there have been plenty of times two black women worked on a pop song together before. Maybe they weren't nominated for reasons that I think you can guess. For example, in 1998, when Brandy and Monica released the song The Boy Is Mine. And if this song doesn't ring you a bell, in 2024, Ariana Grande released also a song with the same title, The Boy Is Mine, which is heavily influenced by the original song The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica in 1998. This song was a smash hit. But of course, they weren't nominated in pop. I wonder why. So the fact that it was in 2022 that finally two black women won in Best Pop Song. I'm happy it happened, but I'm not happy it took that fucking long. Honestly, it doesn't make sense. Another example, if you're not convinced, Tyla with her song Water. She did win her first ever Grammy in 2024, but it was in the Best African Music Performance. And you're probably like, why are you complaining? She did win her fucking Grammy. The song Water deserves to fucking be nominated in Song of the Year. It had everything to be nominated in the fucking Song of the Year category. And I see the Grammys thinking that they're so progressive and creating like categories for people from different backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, ethnicities and stuff, and they think that they're so open and so inclusive, for example creating Best African Music Performance. But what they are truly doing is limiting these artists, in this case black artists, to this own box. Hey, you can have your song in this box, in this case in this category. It can win a Grammy, you can still say that you won a Grammy, but we just put this song in this category. We don't include it in the main acclaimed, most famous, most rewarded categories. No. You can stay in your own little category that we made just for you because we're so open and so inclusive. You think the Grammys, you're gonna play me? Come on. I'm super happy that she won her first ever Grammy, but I truly believe that she deserved to be nominated in Best Song of the Year because Water was everywhere in the radios, TikTok, you name it. So for this part, I'm gonna read y'all what Janelle has written in her article, Where Are the Black Pop Artists in A Magazine? Because she exactly explained everything that needs to be explained. So she wrote, most black artists are notoriously put in the rap or R&B genres and are given no opportunities to grow or expand. Americans like to think that we have come so far from a racial divide in this country, but it's categories like Billboard's Hot R&B and Hip Hop chart that prove this country hasn't grown as much as it think it did. Black artists should have the chance to be considered in any genre they do well in, whether it be country, pop, alternative, rap, etc. But the music industry seems dead set on keeping black artists segregated to a very distinct place in the industry. The harsh truth is, black people are expected to make certain music and sound a specific type of way, namely the rap and R&B. Heads start to turn the other way if they start to reach outside those boxes. It's not right, it's not fair, but it's reality. So I give a round of applause to the artists that managed to successfully cross those boundaries. But all the Normanis in the industry shouldn't have to work 10 times harder to get the same opportunities as all of the Dua Lipas. Every word, every sentence, everything that she said is unfortunately so fucking true. Another example of that sad reality, if you're still not convinced, when the song Old Town Road by Lil Nas X got released, it blurred the line between country and pop, incorporating elements of trap into traditional country music. Despite the song's massive popularity, Billboard removed it from its Hot Country Songs chart, claiming it didn't embrace enough elements of today's country music. Old Town Road, the most popular country song ever, was removed from Billboard Hot Country Songs chart because it didn't embrace enough elements of today's country music. So you know what Lil Nas X did? He said, fuck you Billboard, I'm gonna put Billy Ray Cyrus, one of the country guys of America, in my song, so you have no choice to recognize that my song is a country song and I deserve to be in the Billboard charts. And thank God it did extremely well, even with the featuring with Billy Ray Cyrus. But it's not normal that black artists have to go to this extent. It is not normal to diminish their work, to diminish their success because they don't fit in the mold of a genre style that isn't R&B. Like, this is so not right. It's so fucking sad and it's so unfair how black artists are mistreated in genres that have been influenced by their impact. Like, the fucking irony. And even more when white people like Billie Eilish, Justin Bieber, who just with their style, with their fashion sense, with their artistry overall, you can hear and you can see how heavily they are influenced by black culture, which is a good thing if you are crediting your influences and you are doing it in a respectful manner, But the fact that these people can do it and they are being celebrated for that, but once a black artist does the same, they're not, and they're being discredited in their success. I'm speechless. So on that note, I hope that this video made you open your eyes about this issue, that it is a reality, unfortunately, that black artists, and honestly a lot of people of color, are facing. And I think it's so unfair, and it generally did leave me speechless when I did my research, even before doing my research, like when I just realized it. Like, I remember, like, for example, the example that I gave you, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, like, I remember it happened like 7 or 8 years ago. I was younger back then, and even younger back then, I was like, why they did that? It's so fucked up. And it just sucks to see it happen in a space, in an art space, that discrimination shouldn't exist, in the sense, well, discrimination should never exist. Don't fucking twist my words. But even less when it comes to art, because the meaning of art is to connect, is to make people feel an emotion. And the fact that the music industry is so businessy and they're controlling whose art is more deserving to be made popular, whose art is more deserving to get a wide audience. And again, I am not discrediting, in this case, the white artists who have made it in this business. Like, I'm not saying that they didn't work hard enough to get to where they are right now. All I'm saying is that it's not normal that all the Normanis in this world have to work 10 times harder to just equal one Dua Lipa. And that will be my conclusion for this video. So I hope you have a beautiful night of sleep. I love you. Take care. Au revoir.